Hello, and welcome everyone to another episode of Naughty Lines, the show where, yes, we have a new mic because the other one broke, but we're not here about that. We're here about some good old-fashioned titties.
Hell yeah.
And
And dicks. Don't forget those.
Yeah, and dicks. Dicks are cool too. Super cool.
Hell yeah.
But with me today is the legendary, amazing Speedoru, also known as Speedo Sausage for anyone who hasn't kept up with the times. So, hello, welcome.
Hello.
Oh my
Hello,
god.
everybody.
I got to admit, it is awesome to have you here. Like, no joke.
Oh, thank you. That's very humbling. I'm just some fucking dude.
Yeah.
Can I cuss on this podcast? Should I ask that now?
You
After you've already started recording?
Yes, you can cuss on the podcast. A lot of people do.
Good. Since it's on YouTube, I was wondering. If
Yeah.
that was no bueno.
No, we I'm not monetized in the slightest. We can cuss all you can cuss all you want.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, welcome to the show. Very happy to have you on. It is actually it's quite the honor having you on, because I mean, I've been a fan of your stuff since friggin' I'd want to say since high school. And it's nuts
Jesus.
to be talking to you now. I know it makes you feel old, doesn't it?
Very old. Yeah. Golly.
But basically, yeah, let's just get into this. So with this podcast, it's basically getting to know the person behind the pen. So we're gonna get to know you today. So with that being said, right now I want to know is what got you to just sit up in bed and think, you know what, I'm gonna do this. I want to do this. Your in terms of your what you do now in terms of art or your YouTube channel, Twitter and YouTube, both you found such great success on. What made you want to start this path?
I mean, it's probably obvious, but Newgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
Stumbling upon Newgrounds in 2005 or something and seeing the Street Fighter collab, which is very grotesque and very graphic. Keep that in mind if you decide to look it up. But yeah, I found that in 2005. I always figured that I want to make cartoons because of that. Cartoons like that. And I mean, I think sometime in actually it was 2012 or maybe 2011, Spaz Kid, another animator, was uploading these tutorials onto YouTube for animating with Flash. And it's still, even though, this is a 10-year-old series of videos, they're still perfectly good if anyone wants to start animating with Flash. That's what I did, and I don't think I've learned a single new thing about animating with Flash since those videos. So I'm still operating on that 10-year-old knowledge of Flash. But yeah, I just watched those tutorials and I was like, man, this is tight. I'm gonna animate my own cartoons, and I did. And I think it was some TV cartoon stuff. I think the main one especially was The Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack.
Mm-hmm.
If you ever watched that, I was just totally enamored with this ridiculous cartoon that somehow got on television. That's for children. So yeah, I just wanted to make stupid stuff like that. Yeah, and I mean, then a year. This is 2012 when I started making stuff on YouTube, and then a year later, that very same Spaz Kid managed to coerce me into animating more erotic material. And here we are now. Several years later, I'm doing a bit of both. So yeah.
Nice. And you your YouTube started in 2012, but you forgive me if I'm wrong, but you started on Newgrounds with your art and such. And am I correct in saying that?
Yeah.
Let's see. One of the ones that I remember most about way back when was the was the Brock gets laid.
Jesus Christ.
That was 2012. That was amazing. I loved
Yeah.
it. Oh my god.
For
Uh.
me, I mean, I I think I just like became self-aware in like 2014. So like everything before then, 2012 and 2013, everything, I'm just like, who made that stuff? Who the
Mhm.
fuck was that guy? Because it wasn't me. Uh, so I have a very I have a very difficult time going back and watching that stuff. There's some videos I literally cannot watch. I just find them unbearable. But you know, if people still like them, that's cool. Uh,
S- So do you feel as if like okay, so you feel as if you've outgrown what you've done way back when, and it's difficult to see it again. So
maybe
like how would you describe it in terms of like you're not ashamed of the stuff in the past, obviously. I wouldn't think you were.
not entirely, not
S-
totally.
right. Like okay, so Spaz Kid got you to really want to be into animation.
Yeah.
So so would you say that he's your main inspiration, or did you have any other inspirations for wanting to start art or animation in general?
A lot of different stuff. I mean, I grew up on, like fighting games, stuff like Rival Schools and Street Fighter and stuff like that, where I would just, open up the instruction manuals and look at the artwork of the characters, and I just let me copy that into my stinking notebook when I was like 4 years old. Um, yeah, all the cartoons that I grew up watching, and I mean today it's like I almost struggle when people ask me who's my like main inspirations. I feel like I struggle at this point to say like a specific handful of people because at this point it's like if basically every person I'm following on Twitter is like an inspiration to me at this point.
Mm-hmm.
It's the whole thing with like your different inspirations. You kind of pull different things from each of them. Like there's some artists like, ooh, I really like how this person draws ankles. I'm gonna copy how they draw ankles. And then there's this other artist where it's like, wow, I really love how they draw eyelashes specifically. Let me take that. And yeah, I kind of Frankenstein them all together, and that's kind of what my style is. But for like specific inspirations, it's kind of hard to pinpoint now at this point because there's just been so many different things that have reflected and influenced my art and animation.
Okay. All right. And all right. So let's see. So it's basically just a handful of people that have made it to where that have made it into your inspirations.
Mm.
So the next question now, and I whenever I say this, I'm not trying to not trying to provoke anything. I promise. But throughout the years, ever since you started on YouTube, you've made these while amazing animations. I love them all. It's the question is there's a lot of people who seem to look at them and think this is rather not the word grotesque is not the right word. Very graphic. So was there any reason to was there any reason behind like why like did you just have like do you have that kind of like or is it just your art style or that's just kind of the stuff that you like to make rather
I think
graphic content.
well, for like YouTube cartoons specifically, I think at this point, like I said, the early 2012, 2013 stuff is like particularly like at that point, I was like 16 or whatever. I was going out of my way to like make stuff as grotesque and offensive and unpleasant to look at as possible. But then, a few years later, I was like, wait a minute, how about I make stuff that doesn't look repulsive and sound repulsive? And every joke is me shouting as loud as I possibly can into a microphone. Maybe that isn't super good anymore. Um, yeah, again, it was a lot of that influence from that early Newgrounds stuff and like Oni and Psychic Pebbles and all these animators that were really, at the top of their game in like 2012 and 2013.
Mhm.
Um, and couple that with me, like I said, being like 16 years old and being really stupid, uh, I was just, I figured I'm just gonna make the most extreme, just most repulsive cartoons I possibly can. Um, that was the main driving force, was just let me be as repulsive as possible. But yeah, I mean, I don't think my humor has changed that much really at all. It's just, I think my desire to make my cartoons as off-putting, deliberately off-putting as possible. I think that desire has kind of gone down a bit. I kind of just want to make stuff that people actually legitimately like. I think that would be more fun. Yeah.
And you've taken a little bit of a not not a not a like a turn in terms of your content, more of a like I see that you've rebranded. Like instead of Speedo Sausage, it's now Speedoru. Is there a
Yeah.
specific reason behind the rebranding?
Oh yeah. I think that name stinks. Uh, Speedo sausage. I get, I was 16. I'm gonna make my name a penis joke.
Mm-hmm.
And as the years go by, and it's like I'm having to sign contracts with networks and stuff. Maybe this penis joke name isn't really the best thing going forward anymore. So I wanted to change it for like years. It's like 2014. I wanted to change it to something else, but I was kind of like talked out of it every once in a while. Like, oh, think of your branding, bro. Uh, but I stopped caring. I think 2018 is when I changed the name. I can't actually remember. Um, so that was, yeah, and I just changed it to Speedoru. It's just like I knew people were still gonna call me Speedo, so I just went onto Twitter and set up a new account, and I wrote in Speedo, and then I just like wrote random letters at the end until I found something that was available, and Speedoru was available. I don't think the name sounds particularly good. It doesn't mean anything, but I like how it looks. It looks nice when it's written. Um, and also, I took that opportunity when I uh, rebranded to also separate my not safe for work stuff and make a separate Twitter. So that's when I made the Speedo NSFW Twitter as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of killing two birds with one stone. But towards the tail end of the Speedo sausage era, as we'll call it, that's when like really cool people started following me, and I was like, I don't want them to follow this account because of some things that I've made, like a music video or whatever, and then the next day they see some fucking porn gif that I uploaded. So I also kind of wanted to separate the two accounts eventually. So that's what, yeah, 2018 I think is when I did all of that all in one go.
Okay, awesome. So you mentioned about like signing with like uh with stations and corporations and such like that, kind of studios.
Yeah.
Do you have like a certain studio and or like a certain, I guess, means up the food chain that you want to get to one day? Like, is there a certain studio that you want to work with, or are you wanting to make your own studio?
I don't know. I really like. I feel like everyone else, family and stuff have kind of pushed me towards like, oh, getting a job in a studio or something, animation studio or whatever. But I think as time has gone on, I kind of like, I may as well to use this opportunity that I've been given to like make my own stuff and make a living from just making what I want,
Mm-hmm.
um, and take that. Um, and I've been able to. I think I've been. It's basically been a job, if you will, since as soon as I graduated from secondary school or high school. Um, and I was like, well, fuck it. If I'm have to join an animation studio, I'll more than likely wind up being like a storyboard artist and kind of have to slowly work my way up the chain before I can kind of get any actual influence going. And that, I mean, for a lot of people, like a lot of my friends, that is exactly what they want to do, and it's awesome. But for me, it's like, it's, making my own stuff is kind of it. That's my dream job, and I'm already kind of doing that in a way. So it's like, I may as well just keep doing this.
Right, and you've
Oh,
made
oh,
you've
but
oh, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, like as for like making my own studio, maybe. I do like there's like people that I just like to work with, but just on like a commission basis. But I don't know if I'll. We'll see. In regards to like making my own studio, that could be cool. But for now, it's just me, and I'll kind of commission or hire some other artists or whatever to jump on some of my projects for the time being.
Right. Okay. And All right. So the possibility of your own studio could be in the future.
Yeah,
Uh,
always leave the door open.
yeah, always leave the door open.
I also apologize if my chair is squeaking. It's a
No,
very
it's
loud
okay.
chair. I'm sorry.
It's all right. I have a very squeaky chair too. I hope it doesn't get picked up. So you and I are both in the same kind of predicament.
Yeah, just in case the audience thinks we're both just like ripping mad ass, ripping
Oh,
farts.
jeez. Okay. So next, what would be next? So you so you would say I'm obviously not going to delve too deep into it because it's your own business. Uh,
Sure.
but like you'd say you could say that you're making a living off of what you're doing now in terms of like what you do, or at least you've been making a living out of this for years now. Is this able what you're doing now? Are you able to be sustained? Like, are you sustaining with what you're doing?
Oh yeah, yeah. For the time being, yeah. I take commission. Like I say, I do these kind of music videos every now and I take little commission projects here and there. But um, like the Patreon and everything is kind of covering the bases and keeping me alive until everyone thinks I start to suck, and then they all leave.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm on my own. But for the time being, yeah, I'm good.
Right, and it's crazy to think that it's actually crazy to think. Question: You, I don't know your age, but you said that back in like 2014, you said you were 16. Is that correct? Or
Uh, well, now I'm 26.
you're 26.
I'm a
Okay,
big boy.
so so like okay, how old were you when you made the Naruto final episode?
That that was, I think that was 2015, which would be 6 years ago.
Six
I guess
years ago.
20, maybe. I don't know. I think I was about to start college. I can't remember. I think 20. I think that was 2015.
Okay. And did you I guess the one yeah, it was 2015 when it came out.
Yeah.
Um did you ever so like two of your most iconic and successful videos being Naruto the final episode leaked and Yugi no.
Yeah.
So question is did you think that like they would get anywhere near as popular as they are now? Because like as far as Yugi no goes, everyone knows about that video. Like I remember when that released and my entire high school was watching it like over and over again just because of how funny it was back then.
Yeah, the Yu-Gi-Oh video was a wild experience. The reaction to that, like I had people sending me pictures of like them watching it in class in their school on like the projector and stuff.
Mhm.
Um,
Oh.
and there was, I, I presume the teacher wasn't in the room.
Yeah.
It was also like a Newgrounds event where they played a bunch of Newgrounds cartoons in like a theater in Philadelphia, and Yu-Gi-Oh was one of the ones that they played in like a big theater. I wasn't there, but I
Oh
got to see like
wow.
someone took a little bootleg recording, and just seeing like an actual real life crowd in a gosh darn theater, watching the Yu-Gi-Oh video was very surreal. Um, yeah, I had no idea really that that video in particular would do as well as it did. I mean, I put a fair bit of effort into it. I thought, this would get a cool million at the very least, but
And then
yeah, it did
22
really well.
million later.
Jesus, yeah, and it had like a Kotaku article written about it, and then I was like, what how could anyone write about this stupid cartoon? How could anyone make a article on a Kotaku website? And yeah, the article itself was just like, this cartoon was made by the folks over at Speedo Sausage Studios. Like that wasn't a fucking studio, that was me.
It's
I
like
made that by
that
my
was me.
yeah. So that was my experience with top tier journalism. But yeah, absolutely no idea that that cartoon would do as well as it did.
And how long did it take you to make Yugi no? Like, was it over a course of months or like obviously it took time, but like,
Yeah.
how long was the project?
I think that was like 2 or 3 months. Yeah.
2 or 3 months. Wow,
Yeah.
that
These
is impressive.
I feel like after nearly like 10 years of doing this stuff, I've only got like 20 something. I think on my Newgrounds account is where I have like almost everything that I've made. I deleted a lot of stuff from my YouTube just because I'm like, this sucks, but I'll keep it up on Newgrounds just for people that want to find it. So I think after like nearly 10 years, I've only made like 40 something videos on my own channel.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be the reason why, is because a lot of these cartoons wind up taking like 2, 3, 4 to like 6 months. I think is the longest I spent. Actually, there's like the not safe for work video project I'm doing now is, it's like 7.5 to 8 minutes long, and I started it last September, and honestly, I'm expecting at this point it's probably not going to be done until this September, so that will be a full year on one stinking video. It's a long
Okay.
process.
Oh yeah, obviously, super long process when it comes to animation. Like you can't.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of people out there who think who like go to these animation channels on either YouTube or animators on Newgrounds, and if it's like an episodic series or something like that, people will get upset because it's taking so long for the next episode to come out.
Yeah.
I
That's part.
like that's part
I,
of animation. It takes time.
yeah. It's also part of the reason why I'm not. I have no interest in making a series anymore because I don't want people asking me for the next episode.
Did you did you have a did you have any kind of like, because I'm not sure if I remember correctly or not. Did you have a want to make a series of your own? Like, was
I,
there any kind of uh, any kind of episodic series?
there was a series I made, uh, that I think is hands down the worst thing I've ever made. There's there was the Machinima channel, and they had like this side channel called Happy Hour, which was all for animated content, and
Mm-hmm.
they commissioned me to make a series. And I think, um, at the time, obviously, if it's a Machinima side channel asking me, I'm obviously going to make something based on gaming. I'm going to make like some sort of game animated series. And I started making like this very long, like 8 minute per episode, um, game parody cartoon series. And I had a year to do it. The contract lasted a year, and 8 minutes per episode, and there was like 5 episodes, was no easy task to get done in a year. But I went for it. This was in 2013, and I think I got like the storyboard, or no, the animatic for all 5 episodes done, and the line work for the first episode done. And this, yeah, I think I woke up one day and the first episode was completely corrupted, so I completely lost the entire first episode,
Oh Jesus.
and I was like, well, shit. Uh, and I think I only had like 4 months left on my before I was supposed to deliver the 5 episode series. I had four months left, and I figured, well, I haven't even started the line work for the rest of the other 4 episodes, and I've just now lost the entire first episode. So I decided to scrap the entire series, and in its place make a way shorter and way shittier and way more simply animated series in its place, which was called Super Booby Greasy Warriors.
What?
Um, yeah, I wouldn't recommend looking up because it's shit. Luckily, I mean, Machinima, that whole channel, Happy Hour, I think they just deleted like everything from it for no reason without telling anybody. So, and I don't mind because I hated the series. But people have re-uploaded it, and yeah, that was a 5 episode series. It's an original story. It all just revolves around tits because I was like, I have 4 months to animate a 5 episode cartoon now. I may as well make something that I'm gonna actually enjoy animating for 4 months. I'll just make it about tits. Um, so yeah, that's my closest thing I have to a series. 5 episodes. It's all awful, and I'm probably never gonna make a series ever again.
That actually leads me into another question when it comes to people re-uploading your stuff. Because like you
Mm.
said, you've deleted some videos from YouTube channel, but they've
Yeah.
obviously made their way back onto YouTube through people just re-uploading. So like, what's your what's your stand on that? Because I know that for a lot of people, um, okay, so for instance, I had a guest on Teleperte
Mm.
a while back, talking about how his stuff would get downloaded and put back on and put onto YouTube without his knowledge. So, what is your stand on that with your content?
Yeah. That whole situation is like a whole other kettle of fish because he was just uploading his own stuff to Twitter, and then people were just stealing this content of his that he's still, for me it's like I'm just deleting videos that I think aren't that good anymore, and
Mm-hmm.
people are just re-uploading those deleted videos. So I don't really care too much when people re-upload those. I mean, I do. It is really annoying when people re-upload stuff that I still have on my channel,
Mm-hmm.
or like the music videos I've done that are still up, but people still decide, let me just re-upload this for no reason. There's a music video on my channel that's called the Wave Racer Flash Drive Medley, um, and it's a little music video I did where I just took little snippets of like 4 or 5 songs from this EP that this artist Wave Racer did, and I animated just like I just put them all together and made this little 2 minute animation, and someone else downloaded the video. They took one of the entire songs from the EP, which was like a 3.5 minute song, and
Mm-hmm.
then they took the 3.5 minute song, and then they kind of chopped up my 2.5 minute video, repeated parts, very basic editing, to stretch it out to 3.5 minutes. So the story didn't make sense anymore because they were moving scenes around and stuff just to stretch it out, and they uploaded that, and that like went through the YouTube algorithm. So whereas my video at the time had like 500,000 views, their video was getting like 3 million, and it was getting hundreds of thousands of views every day. So that really that sucked. So for people re-uploading my stuff that I already have uploaded on my own channel, don't do that. Don't do that to anybody. That sucks. But as for stuff that I've already deleted, I mean, like I said, my stuff, basically everything that I've uploaded is still on Newgrounds, but it's just the YouTube that I've deleted shit from. So if people want to re-upload that stuff to YouTube that I've already deleted, cool, that's fine. I don't care. Yeah.
Okay, so in terms of like videos that you've deleted and they're uploading, you're fine with. But in terms of like videos that you have, but other people apparently see more success with,
Yeah.
that's where it's not okay. Because literally, that's pretty much like that's pretty much stealing. Like
Yeah.
you're
And I
not
mean that.
seeing the benefits from it at all.
Yeah. And I wouldn't. That don't take my opinion on like me. Like I'm fine with people re-uploading my deleted videos. That isn't necessarily a baseline for every animator. There's some people that delete stuff and they don't want it re-uploaded, and they don't want it to be seen anymore. So this
Right?
is just
Yeah.
in my instance. It's cool re-uploading my deleted shit.
Okay. All right. And let's see. So okay. So whenever I ask like what got you to start all this in terms of your channel or anything when it comes to your online presence, what about your just in general like want of art? Like, did you start from a young age of like just drawing things, or like was it more into your teens, that kind of thing?
Oh yeah, I started from probably like most, since I was like 2, so, or whatever. As soon as I was able to hold a crayon, I was drawing. And I remember, like, I would hear stories about how my older brothers, they'd come home from school, and I would climb into their, their backpack and steal a notebook, and just start drawing all over it when I was like 2 years old. And they weren't a fan of that because I'd just be drawing all over like stuff that important notes that they had taken down for their homework and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so I just always wanted to draw. Every summer holiday, summer break, I would just spend like every single day drawing in my notebooks. Uh, and then naturally enough, once I got to like 12 or 13, I started drawing on the computer. I was drawing with a freaking mouse for many years. It wasn't until actually I think like the first uh like 20 cartoons I made, you know, of the including the stuff that I've of course now deleted, but like the first like 20 cartoons I made, all of which were in like 2012. I was
Mm-hmm.
just making so much stuff in 2012. Like every 2 weeks I'd upload a new cartoon, but all that stuff was made with a mouse. It wasn't until like 2013 when I finally got a tablet. Um, but yeah, I just love drawing. I've always been drawing every gosh darn day, and it hasn't changed.
Okay. And what is it? And if you had one thing to say, because there to any kind of artists out there that either are struggling and or don't like have any faith or confidence in their skill, what would you say to them to kind of help them like realize, wait, I can do this, those kind of things.
I'd say it's, I guess, probably the fact that I think like every single one of your favorite artists and animators feel the exact same way all the time. I think it's kind of like if you sort of it's something you have to learn to deal with and learn to yeah, just learn to deal with is the fact that like even me, and you know, I don't think I'm the best by any stretch of the imagination. Um, but like if you look at me and you think, "Wow, God, I'd be so happy if I could animate like Speedo. I'd be so happy. I'd be so cool and successful and good at art or whatever." I constantly think, God, I suck. Wow, if only I could animate like this other person. And then that other person is also thinking, wow, I suck. If only I could animate like this other person. It just goes on and on. I think like that feeling of, I wish I was as good as this person, or I wish I was better. It just, I don't know, it doesn't go away, I don't think. Um, which is a good thing because it's like you have this strive to improve and you never want to stop improving. Um, so I don't know if this is like this the most comforting bit of advice, but it's like it's just like, hey, you know, this feeling that I don't think I'll ever be good enough. All of your like favorite successful artists and everything feel the exact same way all the time about their stuff. Maybe that's like a very depressing piece of advice, but I don't know. I think it's somewhat realistic
Right.
because like
It's
there's like so many of my inspirations that I see like tweeting. They're like, God, you know, I suck. I should give up. It's like, what? This is a person who directly inspires me, and they don't think they're good enough. It's a weird cycle, but it's you know, I just think that's how it is, and it's about learning to, you know, just deal with that feeling. It sucks and it's shitty, and you're gonna wind up comparing yourself to these other artists all the time. But it's just forget about it. It means you want to improve, so keep your head down and keep improving.
okay. Yeah, because I mean, in all honesty, like when it comes to arrogance or being an egotist about your work, like sure, um, have confidence in your work, but there are some times where it goes a little too far.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
like there's a lot of people who are like, oh man, I just freaking love I love my art. I think I'm doing amazing. I think I'm the best artist of all time. It's like, you
yeah.
know, you 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 don't need to jerk yourself off anymore. We get it.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I can make something, I can make some drawings and be like, you know what, hey, this is actually pretty good for me or whatever, but, you know, yeah.
Because it reminds me of the you know the song Wonderwall by Oasis.
Yeah.
The the it reminds me of an interview that the lead singer for Oasis was on, and he they were saying like, cause he was being like totally arrogant
Oh yeah.
about his stuff. He was like, oh yeah, I'm great. I don't know what else to tell you. I'm amazing. And they referenced how John Lennon thought he was God
Big
because of how good his
whatever.
stuff was. And like whenever they asked him like why do you think you're like why are you so arrogant about this one song about Wonderwall, like it's one of the only it's pretty much the only song that anyone knows you for. but you still are so proud and or arrogant about this. And the lead singer's like words for that was straight up, well, John Lennon thought he was God. I just think I'm John Lennon. And it's like, wow.
I mean,
Okay.
I think the Oasis guy just likes being an arsehole. I think that's just it. That's just how he is.
Oh, for
As for
sure.
John Lennon, though, I don't know. Yeah, try not
That got
to.
pretty close. That got pretty
I
close.
mean, those Beatles guys were pretty good. I heard they were pretty good.
They were pretty
Um,
good.
but yeah, I mean, there are some people that will let their success kind of go to their head.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, in our space, we're just a bunch of stinking animators, and we're drawing boobies all day.
Drawing
So
boobies all day.
I don't think any of us should really think of ourselves as like better than Jesus because you drew a good titty today. Um, so it's just important to keep humble, I guess.
That is quite the voluptuous titty you've drawn.
Mm.
Not gonna lie. Oh my god, that's great. Did okay, you said that your family encouraged you to like try to go for any kind of like studio and all that. Your family your family did support you in your endeavors, or like am I right in assuming that, or was there kind of a rocky road?
Uh, at some points, kind of mild hiccups, but generally, yeah, they've been pretty supportive. I guess just because, yeah, I I I'm making more than $0 a month or €0 a month, so that's like, hey, maybe he's doing the good thing, maybe he's doing it right. Um, so I guess that, if I was making literally nothing, maybe they wouldn't feel so confident, but um, for now, yeah, they seem to be pretty supportive. They're cool with what I do.
Right, because I mean, like, granted, because there's a lot of artists out there who still live with their family, and normally the family isn't really, like, I guess you could say the norm is this, like, the norm is that not many people want to see their kid go down the path of an artist because of the uh stereotype of, like, the struggling artist or the starving artist
Yeah,
who like lives on Starbucks and McDonald's all the time and all that kind of stuff.
yeah.
Uh, okay, and
It's understandable.
yeah, it's understandable. I mean, grant if I had a kid, I would not want to feel scared for them every day. Like I wouldn't want to be like thinking, man, I wonder how my kid's doing. They're probably sitting there in their studio apartment with no furniture and like a fridge with like maybe ham in it.
That sounds great.
That sounds great.
Yeah. Ham.
Ham.
Yeah, I mean,
Ham is what makes it great.
unfortunately, I'd kind of be the same. I mean, if I was making no money, yeah, I'd be happy just like, continue to do what I do. It's because it's what I want to do. Um, and just, yeah, I'll just eat scraps off the floor. I'm cool with that. If I get a ham, I'm lucky.
Okay, so in that case, do you see a line to be drawn in terms of like if you're making no money from what you're doing, or do you think like keep doing what you're doing if it's what you love doing, even if there's no monetary gain? Because I mean, like, I guess you could say like you could like get a side job or something, like get a part-time
Yeah.
job to support yourself. uh, Obviously, that, in my opinion, that would be the main thing to do. Do you think that would be the case, or do you think like it'd be better to like, hey, maybe stop doing what you're doing now and raise some money for you to live on before you keep doing what you're doing?
It's hard to say. Like I don't know if I've been articulating this well. I don't like really talking about money, but I brought it up a few times. I'm like very incredibly fucking grateful. Like I feel like Jesus Christ, I'm so lucky that I'm actually able that people are supporting me making these chicken scratch drawings on the internet. Like Jesus, how did that happen? And like I said, I've been able to kind of support myself since leaving secondary school or high school. Um, uh, I don't know. I have a hard time saying, to 100% stick to art, give it your all, and maybe you'll get lucky. My success all 100% came down to luck. Pretty much, I'd say any artist will say the same thing, that yeah, it was luck that got me here. Um, I don't know. Yeah, I think what you said just about getting a side job. If you can't make ends meet, but you still want to, like, I just want to draw for a living. I want to keep making art. I want to keep making my own stuff. I guess you'd have to, yeah, get a side job or something to support yourself. I can't in good faith recommend that, like, everyone listening this that wants to do art, yeah, go out and do it and do nothing else. Maybe it'll work out, I guess. You can't really say that.
Okay.
I don't know. I feel like
So
I also apologize. We've been recording for like what, half an hour. I apologize if I've just been like rambling wildly, like an incoherent person this entire time.
no, it's
That's
fine.
just how I roll.
Yeah, you're doing completely fine. Trust me. I promise you're doing great.
I feel like
Uh,
this is a job interview. I've been nervous the whole time. I'm
okay,
relaxed now, but kind of.
that's one thing. A lot of people, almost everyone who comes on, with the exception of like two people now, uh, everyone who's come on the show has always been nervous, like before they come on, or just nervous in general. And like
I think
I get it, it's an interview, but like still, I'm like, oh, I'm always wondering, why are you nervous? It's just an interview.
I think it's because we're all degenerate, not safe for work artists. That probably is a contributing factor. I don't know.
Yeah, you do draw the tits and dicks every day. Hmm.
Nice.
Nice.
It's true. I do.
It yes, it is very true. So okay, so this will probably be the final question of this interview. Uh Basically, we've learned a lot about you, where you started, where you've been, and what keeps you going. So, question is, what about the future? Where do you want to see yourself in like 5 years?
Oh God, the future. No, I don't like thinking about the future too much. Um, I mean, I really only have like my sights set on for the rest of this year and like early next year. That's usually as far as I go. Just like, what am I gonna do this year? Um,
Mm,
so I just have like, there's like four main projects that I want to do this year. I'm already working on two of them, and then there's two more that I like to at least get off the ground towards the end of this year. But as for like 5 years time, I don't know. Try not to wind up dead in a gutter is my goal for 5 years time. Uh, yeah,
I mean, that's a good goal. Like, I
hell
mean,
yeah.
not dying.
Or try to get a ham. I want to get one of them hams you've been
Try to
talking about.
get a ham. Try to get one of those bone-in hams and everything like
Mm.
that. I've always wanted one of those. I've always wanted one of those hams with just the bones sticking
Big
out.
cartoon, yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know. I don't even know if they exist, but if they do, then I'm gonna buy one. I'm gonna eat it.
Hell yeah.
But awesome. Well, I think that's it. Actually no. What's your favorite food?
Uh, uh, you're putting me on the spot now.
What's your
This is
favorite
like the
food?
most. This has been the most difficult question of the entire night. I guess one of them cartoon hams
Cart.
or
One of
Nutella. I got a
them.
jar of Nutella today, and I've been digging into that. God, that's good.
Ugh, I'm
What?
sorry. Nutella is gross. Like, it's just chocolate with nuts in it. Like, not nuts, but like hazelnut. It's just rich chocolate. Ugh. I am
Mm.
not a sweets person. I'm sorry, I'm not.
This is where we've. This is where the interview has crumbled, my friends. We've reached a disagreement
We have reached a
over a delicious
disagreement.
chocolate treat.
It is not delicious. It is too rich and should not be enjoyed by anyone. Not to mention, okay, look. I know how I sound when I say that. I apologize to all of you out there and you, but
Thank you for apologizing.
but you're wrong.
All right.
My
This interview is over. I'm walking out.
my
Has anyone walked out of your interview mid-podcast yet?
no.
I could
Please
be the first right now.
don't be the first.
I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Fuck.
Just kidding, bros. I'm
put-
still here, bros.
To put it into perspective, my favorite food is Brussels sprouts. That is mine.
Good God.
Don't
You're
you
pulling
see-
my leg at this point.
I am not. I swear.
Brussels sprouts.
Brussels sprouts are so
P.U.
delicious. They're delicious.
Everyone- Leave a like on the video if you hate Brussels sprouts. Yeah, do that.
And the
And leave a comment saying, Speedo rules.
Speedo
think Brussels-
rules.
I don't know.
Let's see. Let's
I don't know
see
what the
that
fuck I'm talking
happen.
about.
Yes, indeed. But yeah, I think that is it for this interview. Speedo, you have been an amazing guest. Thank you again for being on the show. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It might be the late night delirium kicking in because it is 1:48 a.m. where I am right now.
Because you live
That might be
because you live in the great potato lands.
Ireland. I do, yeah.
Ireland.
Sure, I do, yeah.
Was that potato famine real?
Possibly.
Possibly.
I'm not that old that I experienced it. I can't really say for
No,
certain,
I meant
but
like in your history.
heard
like,
about
is
it.
that real? like, did it actually happen in your in the history of Ireland? Like,
probably. I don't know. We got potatoes now. That's all that matters.
neat. But all right. Yeah. Again, thank you for coming, and all of you who are watching. Most likely you've all come from Twitter. Be sure to check out and follow me on Twitter. Follow Speedo on Twitter. Like subscribe to their YouTube. Subscribe to this YouTube. Like do all the stuff. All of Speedo's links will be in the description below. If you want to check out any of their stuff, support them on Patreon if you're not already. And with that being said, thank you guys so much for being here for this episode. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Brussels sprouts stink.